Hello Spartans, this is your preparation video for those of you training for the Beast, and specifically we're just going to talk about your nutritional needs for that race. Just as a reminder, the Beast is typically over 14 miles. It takes on average 7 hours to accomplish upwards of, you could be up there for 10 hours depending upon the course and your ability. So what's different about that versus a sprint and a super is you really need to fuel during the race. And what you fuel with is important because it's going to help you from crashing or bonking and keep your energy going. We'll also talk a bit about hydration, which is so important for a number of reasons as well. So I'm going to provide some recommendations. This is Spartan Protocol. We tested this successfully with the first Beast team, and we modified it just a little bit because we do things a little bit differently at FA. So it's a little bit modified, but it's very, very close to the original recommendations. So the first thing is, even before the race, you're going to need to be preparing your body just like any other race we do. So for the 2 days leading up to the race, you're going to want to increase your carbohydrate intake. And the recommendation for that is 3 to 5 grams per kilogram of body weight. All right. So, based on what we're used to, that's a lot, right? But you have to remember it's just 2 days. And the purpose of that is really to load your glycogen stores in your body. A number of you probably have varying levels depending upon what you are taking in. And what this does is, just resets everybody to a specific place where they have adequate stores to tap into because you're going to need it. So that is the first recommendation. The second is really you need to be hydrating very, very well the 2 days leading up to the race. You do not want to be going into the race in a state of dehydration, even mild dehydration. That would be a very bad thing. So, make sure that you're drinking a lot of water. You also want to make sure that you're putting a lot of salt on your food. Salt balance is really important, especially when you're drinking a lot of water. Okay, so those are the two things you really want to do 2 days prior to race day. Then on the race day, you're going to be needing to incorporate fuel. And you're also going to need to be watching your electrolyte balance. Well, you can't watch it, but you need to help your electrolyte balance so that you don't cramp. And so what I'll review today are some tools that you should incorporate to help that. The first thing is we have look at a number of items that help. Basically, it's sugar that kind of help you prevent crashing during the race. I will say that food is real food is the number one thing you can do. So if you can stuff your pack with some bread and a little bit of almond butter and some strawberry jelly or grape jelly, whatever you want on it, and pack a few of those, that's great. So your first preference is always real food. That's always going to be what's best for you. And you do want items like that are high in kind of simple carbohydrates that are going to get into your system faster. Fat just won't be, things high in fat are not going to be readily available to you. So that's the type of thing that you're going to want. With that said, you can't pack 8 sandwiches in your hydration pack. It's just not going to make it. So there are a number of products for endurance athletes that have hit the market that are used. And here's one. This is called a honey stinger. They come in, lots of different flavors. Basically, it's carbohydrates and no protein and sugars. That's one item. They're called honey stingers. There's also, if you've heard of Goos, what Goos are is it's a brand, and they come in kind of like an energy chew type of product. They're little blocks. This one's strawberry. Okay, and then there are the gels, which come in a variety of different flavors, also named by the same company made it. These items, what you got to remember when you take them, and really you're going to want to take one an hour, one right before the race, about an hour before the race, and then one an hour after that. Or like I said, you can do a sandwich, a goo the next hour, another sandwich, some blocks the next hour. You can mix it up. Really want to make sure with the goo products that you're drinking a lot of water with it, because if you don't drink water with it, it's going to upset your stomach. It's meant to be taken in with a lot of water. Okay, so those are the goos and kind of fuel replacement items. The other thing that there are out in the market, which work okay too, or there's like these quick energy beans. Some people like these. The key thing with this stuff is, first of all, you don't want to be like eating these all the time because it's crap and it's just gonna not help you be lean, which is bad, especially when you're trying to prepare for a race. You want to just test a couple and make sure that they don't upset your stomach. Some will upset your stomach, others won't. So what you want to do is try to, as much as you can, replicate what's going to happen on race day. So go for a 2-3 hour hike, and 2-3 hours in, when you're working hard, eat one of these and see what happens. All right, that's really the only way you're going to know if it's going to work. So we have, just discussed nutrition. And the next thing you're really kind of thinking about is water and also electrolyte balance. And one of the key components is sodium. Potassium also comes into play, as well as magnesium. And there are a couple products on the market that help. One of them is called like salt sticks, and they're not sticks; they're pills. I kind of thought they'd be sticks, but they're not. And basically, what this does is if you take it, just one about every hour, it's got magnesium in it, it's got chloride, sodium, and potassium. And the recommendation from Spartan on sodium is to replace 1 gram per liter of water consumed. And you should be doing about 1 liter an hour. So safe kind of recommendation is to say you're taking one of these about once an hour. Really, really great. It's going to help you prevent cramping, which often you'll see on the course. People haven't, they're just electrolytes get all out of balance and they're in a lot of pain. And a lot of it doesn't have to do with the fact that they haven't been drinking enough water. Their electrolytes got all out of whack because it's too much water and not enough salt and other things that you need. Other products that are on the market that we tested, they're really good. This one is called None. This is very popular with endurance athletes. And what's nice about these is that they're little circles, and you just pop them in your hydration pack when you're at a water station, and it dissolves, which is fantastic. So I like to start the race with Rise, which I think many of you are familiar with, and then I use this during the race just because it's much easier than pulling the pack out, getting powder all over the place. It just, boom, you put it in the pack, and it just dissolves just like that. So anytime you refill your water pack, which probably be 3 times at least during the race, just pop one of those in and you'll be good to go. So between the fuel items I mentioned and also the salt sticks and the None, you're in very good shape in terms of just having the right balance of things. One other thing that's really critical for the Beast is actually an equipment item. And everybody who goes on a Beast, I don't care if you're heading out at 8 a.m. and sunset is at 8 p.m. You just don't know what's going to happen on that mountain. So everybody needs a headlamp, okay? And it's got to be a working headlamp. Spartan's really serious about this stuff. It's a safety issue. So a few hours before sunset, they will start pulling people off the course. And believe me, when we did our first Beast, I thought we got out at 10. Excuse me, I just clip this. At 10, I thought there's absolutely no way we're still going to be on the course at 6:30. Well, when they pull people off for not having headlamps. Well, sure enough, a number of us were out there. And so you need to have a working headlamp with batteries in it. You need to be putting it on and turning it on should you kind of reach that point. So do get one. They're really, really cheap. You can get them for $1 or $2. You throw it in your hydration pack and you'll be ready to go. So hopefully that helps. Again, what you want to make sure of is that you're paying attention to nutrition 2 days before the race. You are hydrating well before the race. During the race, you want to make sure that you're replacing your body with, you're basically providing it glucose, and you've got to make sure that those are items that you've tested while your body has been in stress under training, so that you make sure that you don't have some sort of reaction or stomach upset in the middle of a mountain where there frankly aren't very many toilets. So you want to have that down. And then in terms of helping with your electrolyte balance, we covered a couple products that are going to just help you maintain that as you drink lots of water. Make sure that your primarily your sodium levels are where they need to be. So hopefully that was helpful. And if you guys have questions, just post and I'll answer them. All right. Thank you.